Create movement. I'm searching for truth in movement.
These and other shows from your PBS station are available with Passport on the PBS Video app. Download it today.
We at Sage Policy Group recognize that this is a challenging period for households and businesses. But Marylanders are intelligent, strong, inventive, and entrepreneurial. Eventually, this economy will bounce back stronger than ever.
University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, leading the way on Chesapeake Bay restoration, while guiding our state, nation, and world toward a more sustainable future.
71 acres in downtown Baltimore devoted to learning, discovery, care, and service. We train the professionals who secure the health, well-being, and just treatment of Maryland citizens. We create the knowledge that cures disease and strengthens communities across the state and around the world. UMB makes the world more just, more enlightened, healthier, and more humane. We are UMB.
This program is made by MPT to enrich the diverse communities throughout our state and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you.
Preparing for a change in Washington.
We will do everything we can to make sure that women's reproductive health care is always protected in Maryland.
A step back from remote legislating.
Sometimes it's actually nice to have all those people lined up and you can see all of the faces at the same time.
There's no substitute for in-person live interaction.
And can a local bill fight a global trend?
And they will be very difficult to retrofit, disruptive and expensive.
We think this is important to have a policy in place.
For 40 years, connecting Marylanders to their government, this is State Circle.
Good evening. The big story around State Circle this week, a rising tide. A new government forecast says that oceans could rise by a foot in the next 30 years. Sue Copen reports that lawmakers are looking for ways to slow that trend.
This 80-acre site outside Annapolis, filled with 52,000 solar panels, is one of the largest solar energy plants in North America built over a landfill. And if climate change legislation is approved this year, you may well see more sites like this, in addition to a greater dependency on both wind and geothermal energy.
The time is now. The time is now to help low-income residents live in healthy, non-toxic, all-electric buildings. The time is now. The time is now.
Supporters of the latest attempt to tackle climate change rallied outside the State House this week. Climate change legislation died in the closing hours of last year's session. Senator Paul Pinsky is the sponsor of the proposed Climate Solutions Now Act of 2022.
I'm optimistic. I used to think cautiously optimistic, but I think everyone realizes we need to have a strong bill because we can't just throw up our hands anymore.
The provisions of the Senate bill include a 60% reduction in emissions by 2030, net zero emissions by 2045, a move to all electric school buses, and the creation of an Urban Environmental Justice Conservation Corps to help those hardest hit by climate change.
We want to hire young people from those communities, largely black and brown, to work on environmental justice, on sustainability, on helping their communities, whether it's planting trees or helping low-income homes to become more energy efficient.
At the Senate hearing for the bill this week, praise for the legislation.
This bill works to undo some of the impacts of environmental racism, and it also ensures that all future climate legislation addresses inequities. The Climate Solutions Now Act requires the Maryland Department of Environment to define environmental justice communities and to develop a plan to address the harms of those most impacted by climate change.
But opponents told lawmakers while commercial building owners are committed to achieving net zero emissions, retrofitting buildings to meet the requirements now in the bill will be tough.
There are 1.5 billion square feet of commercial and apartment square footage that fit the description of 25,000 square feet or larger. A third of that is apartments, and they will be very difficult to retrofit, disruptive and expensive.
Unlike the Senate, the House has a package of climate change bills. Senator Pinsky says whether it's one bill or more, he is optimistic this is the year.
Because we think this is important to have a policy in place and for the voters to look at it come next November, we're going to get it on the governor's desk with time to spare.
In Annapolis, I'm Sue Copen for State Circle.
Voters this fall could see a state referendum on making abortion access a part of Maryland's Constitution. The Supreme Court Roe v. Wade decision was made a part of state law decades ago, but House Speaker Adrian Jones says a further step is needed because the Supreme Court has been allowing conservative states to impose strict new limits on abortion.
Restricting women's family planning options is dangerous and unacceptable. We will do everything we can to make sure that women's reproductive health care is always protected in Maryland, and any woman seeking care in our state has access.
The Speaker is also backing a bill to allow more types of providers to perform abortions. Mask mandates brought a small group of protesters to the State House this week. The state school board has yet to act on a request from Governor Hogan to make masks optional in schools as the COVID surge has been rapidly fading. Masks became optional in Anne Arundel County classrooms today. Meantime, the state Senate resumed in-person hearings this week, as Charles Robinson reports.
A memo is going out today to essentially affirm what we said that we were going to be doing this past at the beginning of session, to go in person this year, back to committees being in person. The largest change will mainly be our committee hearings.
It was supposed to be normal, but it was anything but normal as lobbyists, bill supporters, and others waited their turn outside the Senate hearing rooms this week. Many checked the monitors as they waited their turn to testify.
So it's been nearly 2 years since we've had live testimony in an actual committee hearing. And for those who've been doing this a long time, it's a readjustment.
You can definitely read the room in person in a very different way than you can on Zoom, but you can also read the Zoom. So I don't want to give the impression that Zoom is useless or it's totally without information. Sometimes it's actually nice to have all those people lined up and you can see all of the faces at the same time.
When you get down to it, it's still people talking to people, and there's no substitute for in-person live interaction. And reading the room, I think questions are more likely to come, which improves the dialogue. These are very complicated issues in many senses, and being able to have a back and forth, I think, is much easier to do in person than it is staring at a monitor.
Not everyone is thrilled to go back to in-person testimony. For groups like Common Cause, a grassroots organization, it means a lot of coordination, from transportation to taking time off from jobs.
While obviously this is where we defer to health experts on, coming back to in person, I think here what we've done is taken a step backwards and gone back to the normal way of doing things, which has excluded many Marylanders, specifically Black and Brown, and those who might be low income or again with a disability, from being able to have their voice heard.
While the Senate is trying to return to normalcy, the House will have full in-person sessions in the House of Delegates chamber. Their hearings, however, will continue to be virtual. In Annapolis, I'm Charles Robinson for State Circle.
One of those in-person hearings was in the Senate Finance Committee. Masks were worn and seats were left empty. Lawmakers are considering an administration bill to increase distribution of the opioid overdose antidote known as Narcan or naloxone.
We believe that passing the STOP Act of 2022 is a critical step in reducing overdose-related mortality.
Our newsmaker this week, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford. Governor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into the details of the opioid legislation for this session, I wanted to ask, what is your level of frustration on this issue? It's something that you and the governor came into office working on opioids, and you've tried everything imaginable, and the numbers, are still bad.
It is frustrating. I'd like to to feel, and I think the numbers kind of bear it out, that we were starting to make progress when you get to 2019 compared to the previous year, that we actually saw less people dying from overdoses during that period of time. The pandemic struck, of course, in 2020. We saw the numbers go back up, not just in the state, but nationally. And now, based on our most recent numbers, they still are high, and hopefully they're starting to level a little bit. But we know that the added stress and anxiety associated with the pandemic, particularly in 2020, we still don't know a lot about the pandemic and how it evolves and the new variants, but we know a lot more than what we did in 2020. And so it's a challenge, but we're going to continue to raise the issue. I think that to a certain extent, it got pushed to the side because of the pandemic, not necessarily in our administration or at the federal level in other states, but just in the minds of people, the public, because they were concerned about the other issues associated with the pandemic.
What are you asking the legislature to do this session?
Well, we have two pieces of legislation in particular. One that really addresses the overdose aspects, and it's the Stop Overdose program. And it's to make naloxone more available, to make it required in certain areas where you have high-risk individuals coming out of incarceration, which is a large group of people who often succumb to an overdose. People who've had a previous overdose, as well as those who are coming out of treatment, to make sure that it's required for them. And then the other is telehealth services for both mental and substance use disorder. The telehealth services to allow out-of-state practitioners to be able to provide services to individuals in Maryland. We have a regulatory structure, and we're not alone. I believe all 50 states have regulatory structures that make it more difficult to provide services to an individual across state lines. Essentially, our regulations say that the provider has to be in the same state as the patient. And to be in that state, you have to be regulated. So I always give the example, if we have an individual from North Carolina that decides to go to a Maryland school, university or college, or comes to work in Maryland, and they had previously had a therapist or a professional helping them with a mental health or substance use issue, they'd have to get another provider here in Maryland unless that North Carolina provider is also licensed here. And that really doesn't make any sense anymore. The professionals go to national schools. The requirements to register in any of the 50 states are very similar to what is required in Maryland. There may be some nuance, but it really doesn't address the quality of care. What may have been, the right thing to do 50 or 60 years ago, where there may have been inconsistencies in how you license people in different states, that's no longer the case. And it's just now it's a barrier to providing services. And so while during the state of emergency, the original state of emergency, we allowed for out-of-state practitioners to provide this service, now that the emergency is over, we want to make it permanent. And so that's what we're pushing on that area. And then we've put a lot of money in our budget this year, $1 billion for behavioral health, mental health services.
I'm curious, given your focus on these overdose deaths and the drug problem in general, your perspective on the proposed marijuana legalization, recreational cannabis legalization, whether it's going to be done, seems like it's on a fast track, but whether it happens as a referendum or through legislation.
I mean, I'm not 100%, behind the legislation. I think if it's done, and I think it will be done, it should be done through the referendum process, because I think there needs to be a lot of deliberation associated with this. Now, I know it's controversial to say that it's a gateway drug. It is for some people. For a lot of people, it's not. Just like alcohol, can be a gateway for some people to alcoholism. It's not for everyone. And so I think we need to recognize that. And because, we've been working on the drug issue, the opioid issue, but also mental health issues. Those who suffer from severe mental health, bipolar or schizophrenia, it can cause very challenging concerns for those individuals if they're utilizing marijuana. We've already decriminalized marijuana. That's been done. Actually before we came into office, that was done. So this is another step, and I think virtually no one, including myself, have a problem with a person using marijuana in their own home if they're age of majority and not driving. But I do think we need to think about it, put it out to the voters, but then also look at the guidelines that's going to be put in place.
Now for a completely different subject, I understand you're going to be visiting your 60th Maryland State Park next week. Most people probably aren't aware that we have 60 state parks.
60 and 61st next week. I hit 2 of them next week. 75 total parks that we have. And I decided right after the second inauguration that I would go to all 75 parks before leaving office. And so right now we're at 59 and looking forward to hitting another 2 next week. And we're mapping out where we're going to go after that. It's quite enjoyable. We started this, a lot of people now talk about the parks because the pandemic, it kind of reopened the parks in Marylanders' mind as a place that they could go get away from their being shut in the house and go someplace where they have fresh air and let the kids run around.
Yeah, you didn't have to get on an airplane or anything.
You didn't have to get on an
close
airplane.
by.
And sometimes you didn't have to go too far to enjoy one of the state parks. And so we've been doing this for the last 3 years. And actually, it started before then, but I made the point that I'm going to hit the parks in the last 3 years. So.
Well, do you have a favorite or multiple favorites that you would recommend to viewers who are looking to get outdoors?
Yeah, there are multiple favorite parks. If you're looking at the shore, I really liked Pocomoke in Western Maryland, New Germany, and Harrington Manor were very nice. I went to Harrington Manor twice, one as part of the bucket list, both in the winter. And the second time I went was just a personal getaway. I decided to go out and rent the cabin, paid for it myself out of my own pocket, and just enjoyed a winter weekend in Western Maryland. And so Rock State Park is very nice. So they're all really nice. Some are small. Castleman Bridge is literally the bridge and a few feet in front of it. So I think that's our smallest park.
Before we go, we should end with a political question because everybody in Annapolis is running for something at this point. And it sounds like the only thing you're running for is maybe park superintendent.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm running from, and everybody's running to or running for something. So I'm just looking to life after this. I never set out to be governor. I wasn't looking to compete with Larry Hogan or to be the next person after him. And I think that helped our, working relationship. I mean, we were already friends, so we weren't necessarily that political match because I brought a certain constituency and he brought another. When we first started, we had no constituencies because no one knew us. So we were friends before, but I think I said it early on that I wasn't interested in, that being my next job. I have to say I did really think about it because it's just, you get so many people talking to you and you do feel that I feel we've done a lot of good things in the state and, hope to be able to continue it. But hopefully the next person that comes in, they'll continue the things that we've been doing.
Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, thank you, sir, for the time.
Thank you.
For the Political Roundtable this week, we're joined by Josh Kurtz, the founding editor of MarylandMatters.org. Josh, thanks for being with us.
Jeff, great to be with you. Thanks for inviting me.
We will talk a little politics and a little about the news business as time allows. I was going to start with the idea that we are just a few days away from what was supposed to be the filing deadline, and we would have been able to talk about uncertainty and any last-minute candidates rushing down to the Board of Elections to file. That has now been pushed back by the Court of Appeals, which is considering challenges to the redistricting maps. There's a lot of uncertainty at this point.
Right. You're right. Filing deadline is always kind of an exciting day, at least for political insiders, because you finally get to see what each race is going to look like. And now we have this kind of weird extra month lull. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to affect the dynamic of races. I think we could see some late entrants now who have a little more time to think it over and a little more time to sort of say, well, it'll only be a campaign of a few months and let me do it. I've heard a rumor of a late breaking Montgomery County executive candidate. We'll see if that materializes. I think particularly if you're looking at like the governor's race where there are so many candidates, maybe a couple will, decide after another month of campaigning that they just don't see a path and will get out. I mean, I think you could kind of see some more candidates in some cases and less in others.
Not inconceivable that the Court of Appeals is going to make some changes to the map. They did it 20 years ago.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, the Court of Appeals is looking over the legislative district map. It changed pretty drastically 20 years ago, and I guess it could again. There are also challenges to the congressional map too. So we'll see what happens, but it's kind of strange because, some candidates in some cases may not know exactly where they're running yet, and how the courts decide could affect their candidacy, or they could, suddenly find themselves out of luck.
Let's talk about the news business for a minute. You were the major force behind the founding of Maryland Matters. What's it been, 5 or 6 years?
We're coming up on our fifth anniversary on March 1st.
And you've become a major force, maybe the major force in statewide political news in that time. It's so amazing that for a business that everybody hates and they lose money in the news business, it's suddenly really hot. I mean, this week we had one of the best known political writers in the state, Pamela Wood at The Sun, leave The Sun to join the Baltimore Banner, which is the new nonprofit news startup. How do you see all this playing out?
It's interesting. And as a nonprofit also, at Maryland Matters, we're thinking about it a lot, and we're watching what the Banner does. The Banner has the great benefit of getting a $50 million endowment from Maryland businessman Stuart Bainum, which we could only we're just really envious. But they are really putting together a good team. They're not actually going to debut until May, but they're putting a couple of stories out on the web now every now and then. And I think they're going to be a force. I think they are stealing talent now from the Baltimore Sun. You mentioned Pam Wood, who's been a great State House reporter, but there are others too. And so you sort of wonder, their claim is they'd like to save local journalism, and I think they're going to be a great contributor to local journalism. But if they're bleeding the Sun, that's not good for the Sun. And, there are smaller publications like ours who are going to be impacted one way or another by what they do. But
Josh, we're going to have to leave it there, but everybody should check out MarylandMatters.org. Josh Kurtz, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
A youth sports clinic this weekend will be part of the celebration of the CIAA basketball tournament that begins next week in Baltimore. Nancy Amata has more on these events and an important anniversary for female athletes.
All kids, if they put in the work, they have a possibility. it's a possibility that they can make it.
Jimmy Little says that's his message to the kids who will be attending the CIAA tournament's first ever youth sports clinic.
Sports changes the world. And if we can keep these kids active in sports, then we can keep them off the street.
About 100 middle school and high school students will be on hand to work out with 20 of the best coaches in the area.
They're going to go through some skills and drills and stuff like that with the coaches. We also going to have 3-point contests for them. And we got awards for whoever wins.
Beyond improving their athletic skills, students will also hear from 2 NBA Hall of Famers and even mental health professionals.
Some kids may stress more because they're not the best player on the team, right? And that creates mental incapacity. So you just want to talk about how it's okay to be competitive, right? It's okay to talk about it. I think, we're in a time now where even at a young age, we need these young men and women to talk about their stresses more.
This year's CIAA tournament comes 50 years after Title IX ended gender-based discrimination in higher education and led to more scholarships and opportunities for female athletes.
This practice time was limited. Instead of a leather ball, we have a plastic ball.
Arlene Creek recalls the days before Title IX when she was a student at Bowie State University in the late 60s. She played basketball, softball, field hockey, and volleyball.
We felt like we deserved more. And we didn't just sit back and kind of take it. I would let the athletic director know, hey, they got this, why can't we get this?
She says change was noticeable, albeit not overnight, when she began assistant coaching at her alma mater.
We could get more games to play. We started out, we may play 5 or 6 games in a season when the guys was playing 15, maybe 20 games a season. So we started picking up that, and also started picking up different sports for competitive sports for the females.
5 decades later, Creek credits Title IX for helping female student athletes compete and achieve, but she says there is still room for improvement.
Look at the salaries with the NBA and the WNBA. I mean, they're not even close, So, that's why I say we got a long way to go. We've come a long ways, and we have a long way to go.
I'm Nancy Yamada for State Circle.
And that is State Circle for this week. Monday on Direct Connection, answers to your questions about Social Security. Are you getting all that you are due? Join us live Monday evening at 7. Now, for all of us at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
71 acres in downtown Baltimore devoted to learning, discovery, care, and service. We train the professionals who secure the health, well-being, and just treatment of Maryland citizens. We create the knowledge that cures disease and strengthens communities across the state and around the world. UMB makes the world more just, more enlightened, healthier, and more humane. We are UMB.
Salisbury University educates tomorrow's professionals with graduate programs to advance your career. Earn your master's online in business, nursing, or GIS. Study social work online or at Satellites in Hagerstown, Cecil, Southern Maryland, and the Midshore. Learn more at salisbury.edu. UMBC offers professional applied master's degrees